Grieving brain, when you talked about the difference between grief and grieving.
A belief, a knowledge they're gone, and you have a belief that they're everlasting. And when those two things conflict, we get grief.
Grieving is learning. It is the software update in our brain that reminds us there's no longer a through street from me to my brother. After my brother died, right? It was harder for me to talk to the rest of my family. What my mind kept saying was, if it hurt this much when you lost him, you're protecting yourself from future grief.
Knowing that there might be grief down the road isn't a reason not to stop doing something.
You don't grieve things that are your choice. You grieve things that are snatched from you. Not just what I felt, but like where I felt it.
Let's imagine your dining room table has been stolen. You wake up one night in the middle of the night, you realize you're thirsty. So it's dark, but you get up out of bed, and as you walk down the hall to go into the kitchen, you don't bump into the empty space. You feel the hole.
Right.
Where the table should be.
Yes.
You feel the absence of the table. Anytime we are in a situation where our loved one should be, we feel that loss. We feel that moment is a moment of grief. But we can learn it's gonna be okay. It's okay to have grief. We get to have that love no matter what. Keep listening for the joy. Keep accepting that life does have both the good times and the really bad times.
Metaphors matter much more than you think that they do. Not just because they help us to grasp concepts, but they dictate the way that you and I move through all of life, all right? So a bad one on something as important as grief isn't just unhelpful, it's harmful. All right, look, grief is not a journey, but if we think that it is, then we'll convince people that grief is some tunnel and there is some light at the end and we push folks through to find that light. But what if grief is not a tunnel at all? What if it's a cave? Then you find that the most unloving thing that you can do is send somebody in search of light at the end of a closed tunnel. That when you do that, you give them the only thing in the world that's worse than real pain, and that's false hope. Right? This is why I love the conversation I have with Dr. Mary Frances O'Connor. Dr. Mary Frances is and has come to be a really close friend. She is a neuroscientist at the University of Arizona, and she has changed the way that I view grief more than just about anybody else in the world. She's written two incredible books, The Grieving Brain and The Grieving Body. All right, so the first person to comment on this video, I'm going to send you both of these books. All right. One of the things that I love about her and her work and our conversation is that our conversation really isn't about grief at all. Our conversation is about why grief surprises us, right? Why our brain forgets things, but then our body remembers, right? Why 10 years can go by and a Longhorn Steakhouse logo triggers you. But most of all, why grief is not just about what we feel, it's about what we learn. I hope y'all enjoy the conversation I have with Dr. Mary Frances. The very first thing that gripped me after we met and I picked up your book was the amount of metaphors that you used. I loved every bit of it. I'm used to people in academia being very comprehensive and very dense. But I love that your book was like all of that, but also it was so accessible, and very, very easy. So, all right, talk to me about the first metaphor. This to me was the game changer when you talked about, your grieving brain. All right, when you talked about the difference between grief and grieving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Metaphor is so important. It's so important in science communication.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it was teaching. It was being a professor, actually, that meant I figured out sometimes a really good metaphor captures the detail, but it helps you remember it.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I talk about in the very first thing in the grieving brain, in fact, maybe when I knew I would write the book, was the metaphor about the dining room table. Should I tell the metaphor about the dining room table?
Yes, please. That was the one that I've used that countless times.
Yeah.
So much that people think that I came up with it now, right? But
it's all good.
Every time that I say it, you can tell people that have gone through it, they lean in with
they feel it.
It's like, oh, that's what I've gone through.
Yes. Okay. So to start, you have to agree with a premise. Right? For this to make sense, for the story to make sense. So let's imagine your dining room table has been stolen. It doesn't really matter why your dining room table has been stolen. So just bear with me. So you wake up one night in the middle of the night and you realize you're thirsty. So it's, dark, but you get up out of bed and you're going to go to the kitchen to get a glass of water. And as you walk down the hall and then you cross the dining room to go into the kitchen, you bump into you don't bump into the empty space. Right? You feel the hole.
Right.
Where the table should be. But what's crazy about this is that's not how nerves are supposed to work.
Right.
We're supposed to feel something in the real world. And then, that gets transmitted to our brain and says, oh, there's a table there. But in this case, you feel the absence of the table. And what I think that feels like for people is every time you walk into a room where your loved one is supposed to be, you feel that hole. But what's crazy about it is I am a neuroscientist.
Right.
And I think that's because this is how the brain works. Our brain is expecting our loved one. It's predicting them. When we fell in love with our baby or with our spouse, we encoded them as everlasting. Right? I will always be there for you. You will always be there for me.
Right.
And so anytime we are in a situation where our loved one should be, we feel that loss. We feel that loss. And that moment is a moment of grief.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's being, shocked and accosted by nothingness. Which we're used to from the time that we're born, and we cry and we're sad and it's a what's wrong, and you expect to hear something, but then when you grieve, you're hit with no, I am totally caught off guard and accosted by both the sting and the stench of nothing.
And the way you said it, I think what's so important about that is it's not just like, it would be so nice if there was someone here, right?
Right.
It's not wouldn't that be great? We need our loved ones. Like we need food and water. Like, I know you had an attachment figure because you survived to adulthood. Right. I mean, it is a part of our physical makeup to have those people we love with us. And so their absence causes a physical reaction, an emotional reaction, all sorts of reactions. But I think people don't really understand in the brain, in the body, we're responding, we're wailing because of the loss.
All right. So I have tons of stuff that I need to talk to you about, both of your brain and the body. I do want to start with the brain first. The other picture that you used that gripped me was our brains are like GPSs. We don't move through the world based on how we see the world. We move through the world based on how we remember the world, right? So it's like in the same way that it takes a GPS time to update, so it does with us, right? So grieving is learning. It is the software update in our brain that reminds us there's no longer a through street from me to my brother.
That's it.
It's a cul-de-sac. So I can send texts out there, but they're not going to come back. And the fact that it takes time, right? The freedom that I had when I read that, and it's like, oh I'm not crazy. No, it just takes time.
Yes.
When did that click for you? What was it that made that one?
Grieving is a form of learning. Grief is not the same as grieving. You asked me, well, what's the difference, right? So grief is in that moment where you're just overwhelmed. You feel the loss so deeply. And I could ask you, like, in this moment, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much grief are you having, right? But that doesn't tell me very much about what the trajectory has been like. I'll give you another metaphor.
Okay, come on.
You think of grieving, it's change over time. It's like the stock market. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. And you can have the worst day of trading ever. And at the end of the year, the stock market might still be up. And I think that's the difference. On that day, that's grief in the moment. But what really matters is, what are we learning over time? How are we learning to build a life again, given that this loss is true, given that you're not going to get a text back, right? And so learning, I think, is something that happens in the brain. And so I started thinking, okay, well, what do we know about the brain and how it learns? And this is when I realized, we think of the mind, you think of like, you have a stream of consciousness and that's what's going on in your mind. But really,
tell us.
You can have two streams of information going on at the same time. This is what I call the gone, but also everlasting theory, right?
Okay.
So
break it down, break it down. Break it down.
So you have a memory system, right? You were there, or you got the phone call. You got the phone call.
I got the call.
And you can remember where you were. Everything about it, right? Your memory has deeply encoded that experience. You were at the memorial, the funeral, right? So you know the reality. You can say to someone, my brother has died, my mom has died, like for me. And that's one stream of information. But the other stream of information is that in the brain, when we fall in love with that person, when they become our one and only, our brother, our best friend, whatever, we encode them as everlasting. And this is how that works. So they don't have to be in the room for me to know they are out there for me. Right? So this is how you can go off to work. You can fly to Tucson, Arizona, and your daughter still knows he's coming back. Right? He is out there. He is rooting for me when I'm in school, even when I can't see him, even when I can't hear him. And over time, we come to believe they are out there regardless. Now, this works most of the time, right? This is what allows us to do well in school because we know we're going to get to go home or whatever. But there are these rare situations where that person isn't out there anymore. And so you have, on the one hand, a belief, a knowledge they're gone. And you have a belief that they're everlasting. So you keep sending the text, keep picking up the phone. And when those two things conflict, we get grief. It's a learning curve to understand everlasting doesn't mean the same thing now that it used to mean. It doesn't mean I'm going to see him at Christmas at dinner anymore, right? And so when those two things conflict, we get this wave of grief. It takes a learning process to really understand they're gone. I can still relate to them internally, but it's different now. And I can't act like they're in the world anymore.
That's the hardest part.
That's the hardest part. It's so painful.
Yeah.
A woman told me, I haven't had any family photos taken since my husband died. She said, I can't do it because the whole family isn't here. But you think about, wow, so for those kids, years are going by with no family photos, right? The reality is he's not here.
Yeah.
They are still a family.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you can't incorporate the fact that he is so important.
Right.
Doesn't mean you can't hold a photograph of him
Right.
in the family photo.
Yeah.
You gotta transform your experience.
Yeah.
You gotta learn what makes sense for you.
Talk to me some about this. All right. So since I've started to do work with grief and hope, it was in the pandemic.
Yep.
I was listening to Terry Gross on NPR, and she interviewed Dr. Pauline Boss.
Oh, yes.
And I came across the book, The Myth of Closure.
Yes.
And I read about ambiguous loss for the first time. Yeah. And it was the thing that wrecked me, because I was like, oh, I thought that the tangible loss of my brother was the thing that impacted me the most. Yeah. But then after that, like, I look back and I saw this trail of ambiguous grief that both predated and postdated his loss. And the more that I started to talk to people about it, the more they were like, they'd come in and they'd say, oh, nah, grief. I don't have grief. I haven't lost anybody. But now they're like, no, there's this whole world that I grieve. Yeah. And so it's like, you do this, right? Mm-hmm. You are a neuroscientist at the University of Arizona. And can you talk to me some about, with ambiguous loss, what does the brain do differently?
Yeah.
Is there a difference?
With ambiguous loss, it's, that we have this internal avatar of the person, right? Yeah. And you can lose the connection to that internal avatar when the person dies. Yeah. But you can lose that internal experience in other events as well. Yeah. You can lose it when your grandfather gets dementia. Yeah. He's still there, but he's not him, right? It's not the relationship. In the past tense, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not, you're not having that relationship. And I think the reason is that the people we care about, we encode them, I mean, literally in the brain, like the neurons that are connected. Yeah. There's neurons that encode you. There's neurons that encode me. Yeah. But there's neurons that encode we that will fire for me and you. So let's use language. I know you love language.
I love it.
If I describe myself as a daughter, right? That's a term I would use to describe myself. Yeah. That implies there's two people in the world, doesn't it? So I'm using it to describe me, but it means there's two people. The word wife, the word sister, the word best friend implies two people. I think what happens is the brain takes our sense of self and incorporates other people into it, right? And so when we have loss, it's also a loss of a piece of ourselves. Yeah. What's the difference between a widow and being single? How do I be in the world as a widow? Or if my child has died and someone says to me, oh, are you a parent? Yeah. What do you even say, right? Yeah. Like, that part of yourself is trying to figure out how to be in the world. Yeah. So I think ambiguous loss is we lose lots of pieces of ourselves, even if the person hasn't died. Yeah. Right? So you get divorced, right? Yeah. That's a big adjustment in your sense of self. Yeah. Even if your kid goes off to college, right? You're not making peanut butter sandwiches anymore. Right. That's a big shift. But then other things like, being a professor is a big part of who I am. Right. Right? It tells me what to do every day when I get up. Right. If I lost my job, I lose a big piece of myself. Like,
Yeah.
who am I? What do I
Right.
do? And I think those are experienced as grief as well,
Yeah.
right? It's that loss.
I started to pastor at 22 years old.
Wow.
I pastored up until I was 38 years old. At that time, I left not because of burnout or not because of any like moral failings or anything like that. I read this book, Quit by Annie Duke.
Okay.
Power of Knowing When to Walk Away. And she has this one picture where she says, what's the goal of climbing a mountain? Most people would say the goal is to make it to the top. She says, nope, the goal of climbing is to make it back to the bottom alive.
Oh, wow.
And I saw, so she talks through like that when people climb up, there's this one part of the day that's called quitting time. And it is the conditions get bad, the time gets so bad that regardless of how far you've gone up, you have to climb back down because most people die not on the climb up, but on the climb down.
Wow.
Every so often, people will be so close to the top and they'll say, I know they said it's time to quit, but I just got a little more to go. And they'll use the last bit of their strength to get to the top, not realizing Uber doesn't come up here and you can't just free fall off of the side, right? And so
you got to save some for the way back.
Yeah. So what good is it to climb to the top and to leave your wife and your daughter as a widow and an orphan? So for me, it was all right, it's the right choice. It is a good choice. I've got a lot of life if there's time ahead of me. So let me climb down. And I climbed down, and it was, when I left, it's not like people asked me to leave. They begged me to stay. So it was completely in my choice, and I climbed down. And I thought, no, this is good. It's my choice. You don't grieve things that are your choice. You grieve things that are snatched from you. And then I started to notice not just what I felt, but like where I felt it. So I'd go into a place and people would ask, like, they'd go around and they'd do what do you do? And for 15 years, when anybody asked that, I would at least get the noble nods where I'm like, I'm a pastor. And they're like, oh, what? Oh, yeah. I was like,
you're a part of it.
Yeah. But now it's like when they ask me, it's like, oh, man, you know what I'm saying? I write some books sometimes. I'm an entrepreneur. And it just wasn't the same thing. And I started to notice not what I felt. I couldn't put the words on it. I started to notice like how my body responded. My shoulders would like slump. I'd kind of shrink. I'd make myself small. And it was only in hindsight, I'm like, I think I was grieving something that I gave up.
That's it. And what's so important there is it means at some level, you don't have to fear grief.
Right.
Like, it's going to come when we make choices. It's going to come when we don't make choices. But the reality is, knowing that there might be grief down the road isn't a reason not to stop doing something, Because grief is terrifying for people. And I think that they make a lot of choices because I'm afraid of a loss. And sometimes those aren't the right choices. I think instead we can learn, there's that word again.
That's it.
We can learn, grief is just part of the human experience. It is our natural response to loss. We can learn to recognize it in places we weren't expecting. But we can learn it's going to be okay. It's okay to have grief. It means there's a shifting course. Maybe we didn't want the shifting course. Maybe we did. But it's okay to have the grief in either case.
Remember, for instance, after my brother died, so I'm the third of five. Sam was a year and 4 months older than I was. He was the closest sibling that I had. After he died, I noticed in hindsight that it was it was harder for me to
Yeah.
talk to the rest of my family. Although it's like common sense would say,
Yeah.
no, he died, make the most of the rest of the time with them. What my mind kept saying was, nah, listen, if it hurt this much
That's right.
when you lost him, then you're protecting yourself
Yeah.
from future grief if you don't build closer bonds with them.
Yeah.
But then as time went on, it was wait a minute.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm protecting myself from future grief, because it's not like if they pass, I'm gonna say, great job, John.
Yeah,
You really
right.
dodged one there, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, yo, I'm not protecting myself from future grief.
Yeah.
I think I'm robbing myself of present joy.
That's it.
And it was a realization that I had then and there,
Yeah.
but it's to somebody that finds themselves there right now. Like, what do you say to the person that hasn't snapped out of it? Yeah.
We think that when we fall for someone or we bond with someone, we think it's about them. Now, there's a chemistry there.
Right.
There's no denying it.
Yeah.
But it's about us learning to love because they were around. We get to have that love no matter what. Once we have learned in that relationship with your brother, spending all that time, teasing each other, playing games together, it taught you how to love. You get to give that love whenever you want. And so I think people think, oh, if I don't love again, I won't have the deep grief. But instead, you won't learn new ways to give love. Right? And it's like, this is some of the wackiness of being a human being. It is true that you can't love on Sam the way you did.
Right.
You just can't, right? You can't have the physical, you can't hear him back. But because the way our brains work, you can still talk to him. You can still tell him what's going on.
Right.
You can tell your daughter how proud he would be of her, right? You can still have a relationship with him in that you can still show the love that he taught you how to experience. So it's bad. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Right.
It hurts. And if we can learn, it's about, those relationships are about us learning how to be a loving human, then lean in on that. Lean in on, how do I be a loving human with other people? How do I notice the Sam in other people and love on that?
So I think one of the things that I've learned this year is that grief is very much a body language.
Yes.
And right, when you talk about grieving being learning, that was this year for me. When it comes to like the body, I think the thing that surprised me the most this year is not the realizations that I've had. It's been the reflexes that I've noticed that I can't shake, right? The ones that I didn't work hard to get, but the ones that
kick in.
Life gave me, right? So 10 years ago, I found out at a Longhorn Steakhouse that Sam died. To this day, I cannot make prolonged eye contact with the Longhorn Steakhouse logo. When I'm driving on road trips in Atlanta, if I'm driving east out of town, I know there's going to be a Longhorn Steakhouse logo at exit 4, and I have to literally close my eyes as I pass by. My body doesn't need a calendar to know this is going to be the 28-day span between Sam's birthday and the day that he died. The fatigue, right? But this year, it was the anger. And I think for the first time, I realized I was gripped by anger at Sam. This is 10 years later, and it's just have had just one of the worst years of my life in so many ways, and just felt like I needed a big brother. And I remember on the 10-year anniversary of him passing, I'm sitting on a couch on the top floor of a suite in Midtown Atlanta, and I'm crying. Yeah, starting to talk to him, right?
Yeah.
Why did you leave me? You left me. You left me. Why did you leave me? And just feeling that anger like in my gut, in my bones.
Yes.
And just why do realizations like that in my mind, it's like, shouldn't this have come like at the beginning? Right, yeah, like shouldn't this have come at the start of it? Like, why did this one come 10 years later? Why are things so instinctive and quick? And then why do things just take so long to come?
We think that when a loved one dies, that the relationship is ended.
Yeah.
It's not ended. You keep having that relationship inside. And because of that, your relationship evolves and develops, even though they're not there.
Yeah.
And so there's 100 reasons why maybe at 10 years it happened for you.
Right.
But it's because he's still gone.
Yeah.
But you're a different person now.
Right.
He's gone when you're in your 40s, not he's gone when you're in your 20s, your early 30s.
Yeah.
And it's different because you're different. The we
Yeah.
has to deal with him being gone with you at your age now.
Yeah.
Right? And so what I think that means is it's okay that new feelings are going to come up. And it's okay to work through those feelings as well. So I think of it this way, at a really basic level. And what I mean by that is we see this in infants who can't talk. We see this in animals that pair bond for life, for example, when they're separated. There's two kinds of responses that we see, two behaviors that we call protest and despair. Now, protest has all that energy of anger, right? Oh no, they're gone?
Yeah.
You in Longhorn Steakhouse, that moment of what?
Right.
No, this isn't happening.
Yeah.
You feel in your body all that energy. If you look down in the grocery store and your kid's not there, that feeling of, I've got to find them, what's happening, right? We call that protest. There's another feeling, another response we have to loss that we call despair. And that is, oh no, they're gone.
Yeah.
And you can feel how different that is in your body, can't you?
Right. Yeah.
You just the weight of that. Now, what's interesting is they are both the same information. Oh no, they're gone, and oh no, they are gone. Is actually you're learning the same thing, but you're responding to it in a different way. And so
punctuation at the end is different, right?
That's exactly it. It feels different in your body. You're responding to it differently. And what it means is that on any given day, in any given decade of your life, you're going to respond differently to the same loss. For me, I had this experience where I was really angry with my mom initially. And I couldn't even admit that I was angry.
Why?
I was afraid to be angry. I was afraid. I mean, I was raised to be a very polite Catholic girl, and being angry is just not an acceptable emotion. I'm sorry. No. You might get your clothes dirty if you get too angry, right? So there were lots of reasons that I didn't feel like I could be angry. I was afraid of being angry with her because she'd be mad I was angry. You see how that relationship goes on, even though she's not there.
So even after she passed,
even after she passed,
you've already been conditioned to,
Yes.
I don't want to
To
make her
respond.
mad. And even if she would be mad, I don't want to do that.
Exactly. And it's just that. It's that what really ultimately happened for me.
Yeah.
You know, I wrote the first book, The Grieving Brain, and it really helped me to talk through it, you know?
Right.
Like to write it out.
Right. Yeah.
And even though I do this every day, I'm dealing with grief mostly of other people.
Yeah.
And so to sort of let myself admit some of the things. You know, I'll tell you this, John, I still feel really embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
My mom and I had a tough relationship. My mom had a lot of depression. And I was like her regulator.
Yeah.
You know, I kept her kind of on an even keel, but it meant I was a little always off balance. And when she died, it felt like a solution, you know? And I'm super embarrassed to say it, but it's also true.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to admit that, even to myself.
Yeah.
But what it meant was that when I hit my 40s, when I was in my mid 40s and I was writing this book, and there was still so much anger with her. And then I started noticing that my other friends who were in their 40s, they started having better relationships with their mom, right? Like they suddenly could forgive their mom for being over controlling, or they admired their mom for her mothering skills because now they were being mothers.
Oh, so
right? So
their moms that are still
ones.
living, and now they're like, oh,
yes. Now they're like reconnecting in a new way. They like get their mom, and they get to tell their mom that they get her, and they get to do things together. And I realized, wow, now I'm not angry. Now I'm sad because we didn't get to get over the anger, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't get to have that moment where I was like, oh, I get you were trying to do the best that you could, you know?
What did that do to you? Like, did you have more guilt because you're like, oh man, I can't believe I felt a solution or a type of relief when she...
It was like, you know what it was like? I forgave myself for it being a solution. Because I realized that's also who I was at that age.
Yeah.
I was in my early 20s, you know? I didn't know any other way to respond. And in my 40s, I started to look like her. So I look into the mirror now and I look just like her. I suddenly get to see my mom all the time in a way that I never have. And I was able to forgive her because she was doing the best she could. And I was able to forgive me because I was doing the best I could. And it gave me a sort of peace. What comes with protest, what comes with your body is energy. And I was ricocheting through my life. I was doing all the things. And it wasn't very good for my body, honestly. It takes a lot of energy, right? It allowed me to sort of settle. And even though some of that settling was sadness and even despair, it was a lot easier on my body. But you can't stay there. So here's the thing about despair. It's okay to have despair. It's okay if you're having despair for me to be like, yes, it is true. Sam is gone. He is not coming back. I understand why you are in tears. I understand why you feel like my life is never going to be the same. But despair isn't the end of the story. Because despair says, they're gone. I can stop running around searching for them and calling out to them. They're gone and they're never coming back. But it also says, and I will feel like this forever. That's the learning. That's the deep learning. But that's not true. You are not going to feel that way. You are not going to walk out of that room you were in and feel the same way in 2 hours, in a day, in a week. And so when we're sitting with someone who's having that despair, I think it's about lending them your hope.
Yeah. Gene Kerr
Yeah.
gives one of the best definitions of hope.
Oh, tell me.
If despair says we'll feel that way
Forever.
yeah, Gene Kerr says hope is the feeling that the feeling I have right now isn't permanent. The feeling that the feeling I have right now isn't permanent.
This is not the end of the sentence.
Right.
This is not the end of the paragraph.
Yeah.
And I think when you're sitting with someone, there's a way in which you can say, you can be right here.
Yeah.
You can feel whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to sit over here. And I don't know what your life's going to look like without Sam. I don't know what your life's going to look like in 5 years. But I can tell you it won't be this. And I can tell you I will be there till we figure it out.
Mm.
We're going to figure it out together. You are doing the best you can, even in your mismatched shoes and eating cereal for dinner and whatever it is.
Right.
But I will be here. I keep showing up
until
we figure out a life that has grief in it.
Yeah.
That's not going away.
Yeah.
And also has meaning and joy and silliness and whatever else, right? That has all the things.
Yeah. That's great. The thing that I've been gripped by has been the reflexes.
Yeah.
The ones that I didn't create, but I can't shake. And it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
I can't make prolonged eye contact with the Longhorn Steakhouse logo. I've never been back to a Longhorn Steakhouse just because, the food wasn't really that great, right? But it was like, there's a part of me, Mary Frances, on the inside that I don't want anybody to lose a job.
Yep.
I just kind of want all the Longhorn Steakhouses to go out of business and for somebody else to buy them up and just put a new logo and a new brand. And I'll be fine and everybody will be okay. Like, what do you do with that? Because there's a million other types of Longhorn Steakhouses in folks' lives where they can't go back. Like Memphis was the place that Sam was when he died. And that was the first time I'd ever seen a body in a morgue, right? It was the first funeral that I went to where he was like laying out there, and before he went out, I reached in to like kiss him on the forehead, and I was shocked by the coldness. Yeah, it was. Yeah. You never expect your lips to meet somebody and experience cold. Even if they come out of the cold, there's a warmth that
emanates,
comes through. Yeah. And so it was like cold, hollow. And I've been to Memphis one other time in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
And the time that I went, I was just sick the whole time and I'm never going to come back. So there's all of these things where seemingly, I guess it feels fine, but I've made all these declarations. Yeah. I'm not going to go back. It's okay. Mm-hmm. There's so many other cities in the US. I never have to go back there. There's so many places to eat. I never have to go back there. Yeah. I can just avoid all of that and be fine.
Yeah.
Can I?
So I think the answer is maybe.
Okay. Okay. Tell me.
Here's why.
Okay.
So if we think of grieving as a form of learning, and it's learning so many things, it's learning, oh, wow, this is what grief is like?
Yeah.
Who knew?
Right.
Right? Who knew my chest would hurt like this? Who knew I'd have a lump in my throat that I can't swallow properly? Yeah. It's learning, how do I be in the world without my brother, my mother, my cheerleader, you know, who was going to get me through?
Yeah.
It's learning a lot of things. If we think of it as a form of learning, then the question is, what gets in the way of learning? Anything that gets in the way of learning is probably going to get in the way of grieving.
Mm.
So you have to learn how to be in the world now.
Yeah.
Your GPS has to update.
Yeah.
You have to figure out, how am I going to do this? And if avoiding means you can pretend you're not actually in the world, it means that your brain doesn't get a chance to learn how to have these waves of grief come and go. It means that we keep ourselves out of situations maybe where we really should be present. I mean, think about it this way, John. If you are driving along and you see the exit 4 and you close your eyes, that's not good for your driving. Right? You see what I'm saying?
I feel you.
And
but I don't want to look at the logo, that terrible logo, that ugly logo.
So some of it is thinking about...
Take it out. It's a black and white logo. Who makes a black and white logo? Come on. Throw some splashes of color. Yeah, throw some splashes of color. Antiquated. Okay. What's up?
I think you're using exactly one of the good skills, I talk about having a big toolbox of coping strategies, and humor's a good one.
Okay.
Humor is key, right? How do you get through without humor?
Yeah, right.
And I'll tell you, avoidance, this is why I said maybe at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's not that avoidance is the worst coping strategy in the world, right? It can keep us out of situations that we can't handle.
Yeah.
It can keep us safe for a little while.
Okay.
But if it's your hammer and avoidance is the only strategy you have, you can't fix everything with a hammer, right?
All right. Yeah.
And so I think the question is, what would it mean to look at the logo? What would it mean to remember being there?
Yeah.
And I think, we can talk a lot about grief sometimes without talking about death, which is sort of a weird thing.
Yeah.
But death means something bad happened to their body.
Yeah.
Right? Something we couldn't change. Something we couldn't fix. Something we couldn't get there in time. And there's a piece of us that has to learn that death is a part of what happens in human life.
Yeah.
And it means we're cold. It means our loved ones are cold. That's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
You can space out your learning over time.
Yeah.
But if it's preventing you from doing things that are good, if it's preventing you from connecting with people, if it's preventing you from being in the present moment when you're driving down the road, or if it's preventing you from taking care of your own body, right? Then we start to edge into maybe it's time to give up this tool, not use it all the time, and learn something new. Right?
I got you.
You might learn something new if you looked at that logo.
I don't know. That's okay. You convinced me. What I love about like a good movie is a good backstory. Gives context. Fills it out. I would love to hear more about your journey, right? Why neuroscience? Why grief, right? Right? Like that's the question I think that, I get asked, like, why grief? And I think I'm particularly interested to hear about it from you because I think there is a type of person that talks about grief and they walk around life like very sad, furrowed brows, frowns the whole time. But it's like you are one of the most lively communicators about grief that I've ever, like smiling. I see all of your teeth all the time. Why grief? And then why did you come to write about the brain in grief? And then what made you move to the body?
I think sometimes being a scientist is a little bit like being a 2-year-old that just keeps being like, but why?
Right.
But okay, so now we know that, but why that?
Right.
Right? I've had that sort of burning curiosity, but you could be curious about anything,
Right.
right? I think, grief came into my life early. Not as early as some people, but when I was 13, my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. And it was, the surgeon told my dad that every single lymph node had cancer in it already when she had surgery. And so they knew it was already other places in her body. And I was 13, so I didn't know. But they told my dad that she would probably not live through the year. And my mom was a force of nature. The oncologist described her as his first miracle. She lived another 13 years, John. But it meant 13 years
Of
when's the other shoe going to drop?
Yeah.
Right. It was like grief became familiar. Even to some degree, death became familiar. And she struggled. And I told you, I was her balance, her emotional balance. And so I wanted to figure out how to help her.
Yeah.
It wasn't my own grief. It was, I wanted to know the things that I could do or be or say and so in many ways, science for me was like, I don't understand. How does the brain understand that this is your one and only? How does the brain even understand that? And then how does the brain understand they're really gone?
Right.
Like, I don't understand. How does the brain understand love?
Right.
And then that love gets revealed when there's loss. And so I was already in graduate school. I knew I wanted to be a psychologist, not surprisingly, right? Given that motivation, given that backstory.
Right.
So I was already in graduate school, but with a very physiological focus. Like I was very interested in pain, physical pain. How does your body do that? How does your brain know this is sensation and this is pain? Like, what's the difference? And so I was already interested in the psychophysiology when she died when I was 26. And I thought...
Yeah, what was your mom's name?
Margot.
Margot. Okay.
I love that name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great name.
It's a good name.
Yeah.
My mom was so proud of me. She raised us to be strong women, my sister and I. And she was so proud I was in graduate school. And I realized that I had this capacity to talk with people who were grieving. Like, you can break down in tears and I'm okay with that, right? It feels familiar. Yeah. I know it's a wave. Yeah. But what it meant was I was studying, neuroimaging and how to analyze an EKG and how to do a blood draw. And I could map on the conversation we were having, what you were telling me you were feeling. Yeah. With these blobs in the brain or the blips on a immune assay, right? Yeah. And so I think it just sort of put me in an unusual circumstance where I could study grief from the basic most building blocks. Yeah. And that fascinated me, not just in and of itself. Yeah. I mean, a little bit. The 2-year-old still wanted to know why. Right. But because... what I realized when I got, it was about 7 years ago. Yeah. I got to take my first sabbatical, which we do in academia. You get time to sort of pause the teaching, pause all the meetings, and really think about what's important. Yeah. And I realized that I'm doing grief studies every day. I'm in the research, I'm designing studies, I'm interpreting data, I'm talking with colleagues all over the world. Yeah. And if I sit next to someone on a plane, they don't know anything about grief research. They have no idea it's being studied. They have no idea what we can do to intervene and support people. Yeah. They don't even know what physically changes when we grieve. Yeah. And I thought, I've got to write a book. I've got to get this into the hands of people who could actually use it.
Yeah.
And that opened me to a whole new world, a world like these conversations, right?
Yeah.
Where someone says, no, I really want to know this answer. And I can tell you from a scientific perspective, either we don't know, we're working on it, or, oh, we've never even asked that question.
Right.
And so that's what my job is about.
Yeah.
What is happening at a basic level? And then how do we use that information as a person who's grieving to work with the grieving body, with the grieving brain, instead of against it?
Yeah.
That's the hope.
What changes in the body that people would be shocked by, that when you share it, they're like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The proof to me
Yeah.
that grief is a physiological experience.
Yes.
A research study shows on the day that your loved one dies, you are 21 times more likely to have a heart attack than any other day of your life. 21 times more likely. That's crazy.
That's wild.
That's a crazy medical statistic. People think dying of a broken heart is a metaphor. It's not a metaphor.
Mary Frances, when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I had a friend.
Yeah.
He went to the University of Arizona. We're the same age. We graduated high school in 2002.
Okay.
By the time he graduated high school, it was his mom and his dad. He had an older brother and a younger brother.
Yeah.
By the time he graduated high school, it was just him. Everybody else was him.
Wow.
His mom died when we were kids.
Okay.
And I only remember this because I've literally been trying to write down, all right, when was the first time that I saw that? And I remember we would go over to his house. We were all kids at the time.
Totally.
Playing Sega. And all I knew was that his mom died, but I knew that on a school night, we could go over and play games. And as we walked through the front door of his house, I'll never forget the picture that I saw. His dad was like hunched over, crying.
Yeah.
And people were consoling him and they rubbed his back. And that was the first time I'd ever seen a grown man cry, right? Much less a grown Nigerian man cry. And they kind of rubbed his back. And I just remember him being, inconsolable.
Yes.
And less than a year later, he's gone.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think at some point, I think at some point somebody was like, his health never got right. He just had a broken heart.
Right. Yeah. I wonder to myself, what happens in those moments? And I think we forget that when we form that when we bond, when he bonded with his wife, when he fell for her, it's not just our minds that fall into relationships. Our bodies fall into relationships.
Yeah.
She was an external pacemaker for his cardiovascular system, right?
Tough.
If he came home and got a hug from her, his blood pressure went down, his heart rate went down. That is a true fact. And it means that in her absence, not only is that not happening every day, but he knows it's not going to happen. And it means we all have to figure out, how do I regulate this body without this person who I, at some very basic level, expect to be there for me? You know? Yeah. And I think that bodies are surprisingly resilient.
Yeah.
Most of us, we see in the data, on average, for 6 months, our heart rate goes up, our blood pressure goes up a little bit. And by 6 months, most of us, their body has absorbed that blow and sort of found a way to get back to its normal functioning. We still have waves of grief. It still hits us again and again, but we start to learn how to do this in the absence of this person. Some of us, not so much.
I grew up, and I think most of my life has been spent in a particular tradition, faith, Christianity, where I do think a large emphasis has been placed on the mind and the soul, and the body has been de-emphasized. So much so that they'll treat grief or things like this as if we experience these realities as unembodied souls. And so I know that there's lots of folks out there that may even resonate with my stuff who would find great help in your first book, and they might not even touch the next book because they're like, the body, like, go to the gym and eat right and you'll be fine, right? What would you say to people that would underemphasize or neglect the role of the grief as it relates in the body?
I think that we've divided up the mind and the body for lots of historical reasons. And religion as well. Sort of like religion got to have one section, and the medical profession got to have the other section. But, it's like I tell my students, your body didn't actually get the message. Like it doesn't think immunology's in one department and neurology's in a different department and psychiatry's in it. It's all information for your body, right? I mean, you can think about the body in so many ways. We put our hands together when we pray.
Right.
We move our body to demonstrate reverence. Yeah. We feel joy in our heart. We stand up when we sing. We are having a physical experience every time we are doing something religious, emotional, because it's the only house we live in. It's the only one we got. And so I think when we neglect the body, it also has to cope with the loss of our person. And to the degree we don't understand how to bring the body into this learning process, it makes it harder to grieve. So I'll tell you, about a year after my mom died, I started having these twinkling pains. I know that's not actually a thing, but that was the best way I could describe it. I had my arms, my hands, sometimes in my neck and my face, these super weird sensations, but like painful, like I'd leap out of bed, Fast forward through a year of not being able to figure out what the heck was going on, and I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Now, I want to be super clear. My mom's death didn't cause my multiple sclerosis. I have an aunt who had it, so we got a family history. I have lots of risk factors. But the reality is, it emerged at this moment when my body was under all this emotional stress, right? My nervous system was dealing with higher levels of hormones and higher levels of inflammation. And we know now from research that that's what happens in grieving. But you come in at the starting line of loss with whatever body you came in with. My friend Lizzie Pickering, she talked about after her 6-year-old son died, she had bronchitis and pneumonia over and over and over again. And Lizzie had to learn, I had to learn, you can only ignore your body for so long. And it will catch up with you. And so I had to learn that ricocheting through my life was not going to work. It was not helping me to create a meaningful life where I could do the things that I wanted to do. I had to pause, allow a little bit of that settling,
Yeah.
even withdrawal.
Yeah.
And I had to make room for my body in
Yeah.
this process.
Mm.
And, Lizzie talks about taking up yoga.
Yeah.
And the reason yoga was important to her was she does it every day.
Mm.
And she learns, what can my body do today?
Mm.
And just like grieving people may be familiar with, I wake up, I have no idea. What's the fatigue going to be like today?
Right.
Is today going to be the day I break down in the middle of traffic and have a crying jag? Who knows?
Yeah.
It's a little bit like that. Our body is different every day.
Mm.
And if we learn to work with it,
Yeah.
Lizzie learned to breathe really deeply in yoga. And she thinks that really helped her lungs, right? She felt like she couldn't breathe while she was grieving. And she practiced. Yeah. She set up a practice of, I'm going to learn how to do this.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Love to hear from you about the ruminations, those loops. How is it? Yeah. What are the loops? Why do we get stuck in these loops?
I spend a lot of my time thinking about grieving as a form of learning.
Right.
And I think, well, we're supposed to be good at learning.
Right.
Like we have a whole organ devoted to learning.
Right.
How is it that we cannot really learn that they're gone? How is it that we can't learn how to build a life?
Yeah.
Why is this so hard?
Right.
And I think of what things get in the way of learning. Avoidance was one of them. The other one that we see in the scientific studies that is getting in the way of people's stock market improving is rumination. Now, what do I mean? Rumination, those are the thoughts that go round and round and round in your head. You just can't. You're at a stoplight and now your brain is doing the thing, right? You get into bed at night, your brain is doing the thing. And one of the most common topics for people who are grieving is what a good friend whose son died by suicide calls the would've, could've, should've thoughts.
Counterfactual.
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh,
okay.
You got it.
Yeah, I got you.
You got this.
I'll be reading. You know what I'm saying? I'll read your stuff. What's it? Yeah.
The would've, this is like, if only I would have picked up the phone. If only the doctor would have run another test. If only I could have gotten them to the hospital sooner, right? Our amazing brain can come up with an infinite number of these stories. There is no end to the number of stories.
Yeah.
But each of these stories ends with, and then my loved one would have lived, right? And there's a way in which that rumination, even though the guilt feelings, the blame feelings that come with that are intense and unpleasant, the story still ends with, and then my loved one would have lived. And there's a way in which we are keeping them alive because we can come up with a reality in which they are alive. But in truth, they didn't live.
Right.
And the thing is that when we are stuck in our head like that, we are not living in reality. We are not in the present moment. And what it means is that when we're stuck in how it could have been, we're not aware of everything that could be happening right now, right? So your grandchild could be telling you some hilarious story about monsters, right?
Yeah.
And if you're just stuck somewhere, you're not really engaging with them.
Yeah.
Or, you're at a coffee shop and the barista gives you this big smile and you think, oh, how lovely, right? Like a moment of connection.
Yeah.
If you were stuck in your head, you don't even notice that smile. And so the present moment does have grief in it. Not going to sugarcoat it.
Right.
There's a lot of painful moments.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good moments.
Yeah.
And mental health isn't about not having grief. Mental health isn't about not having bad moments. It's about having those and having all the good moments too, right? It's about learning how to comfort yourself.
Yeah.
when you have those moments. I go into the grocery store. So my dad has also passed away now. And I go into the grocery store at Christmas, and there's this kind of cookie, the Trader Joe's Peppermint O's.
Yeah.
And my dad and I could eat,
Right.
we could eat a lot of
Right,
those.
right.
And so when they show up in the grocery store, there I am in Trader Joe's, and I'm so upset because we're not going to be able to do that this year. And I've had to learn over time, okay, you're in the middle of grocery shopping. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm.
It's not that I'm ever expecting not to have that moment.
Right.
It's that now I pull out my phone and I text my sister and I'm like, the cookies are here again and I'm a puddle.
Mm.
And she says something like, oh my God, remember how we used to get lost in the new house where we had Christmas and he kept turning the wrong way, right? Like she tells me some story about him. And in that moment, I feel comforted. I'm connecting with her. I'm connecting with a good memory of him. And so it's about when the waves of grief come, they're going to go, but what do you do to comfort yourself? And importantly, what do you do to soothe your body? Because your body is having the experience as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And so many people tend to their mind or their heart, or the most that they'll do for their body is grab tissue to make sure that their
That's right.
cheeks aren't wet.
That's right.
Yeah.
But we can learn we did a research study in my lab.
Yeah.
We taught people what we call progressive muscle relaxation. It's just this process. It's sort of like a super fancy body scan.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. You learn to tighten your muscles and then relax them, but you do it in an organized way. And you really concentrate, oh, that's what my arm feels like when it's relaxed and so forth, right? And they were in the intervention for about 6 weeks and their grief improved. We didn't talk about grief. We talked about their body. And it meant people had something they could do. When that wave of grief hit them, they could find a way to be in a resilient body, to allow it to move through them, to find a way to relax, even though they were upset. And it meant not just their body did better, but their mood was better too.
That's incredible.
Isn't that amazing?
That's great. One of the most jarring reactions for me was in the weeks after my brother died.
Yeah.
I realized how guilty I felt at the thought of having sex.
Yes.
Because it was like almost to myself, like, how dare I enter into a thing that feels good when this went on. And although it may not be the same thing, I know I come across so many people that they're not trying to avoid, but it's like as they're driving through life, shame is in the passenger seat telling them, you cannot laugh, you cannot smile, you can't sit there. Like, what would you tell somebody who presently finds themselves there now? And you can just tell them.
Yeah. There's no one answer. Each person is going to find their own answer. But the question is, can you be open to it? What would have to happen for you to be okay going to a party? For you to be okay laughing at a joke, listening to music, having sex? What would have to happen for you to do that? Would you need permission from your loved one who's died? Would you need forgiveness? Would you need just connection where they say to you, live and bring me along with you, because I can't do it myself? I don't know what the answer is for you, but I do know you can ask for forgiveness now. You can tell them how grateful you are for what they did. You can tell them what you are doing in your life that feels good, that is because you learned how to feel good with them. So you will find that answer, but keep listening for the joy. Keep accepting that life does have both the good times and the really bad times. John, I have enjoyed this so much. Thank you for bringing this language of grief to people.
One of my other favorite books on grief is Notes on Grief by Chimamanda. Once again, the second person to comment gets this one. There's a few lines in this book that just grip me, and they shape me. One of them is as she starts to reflect and talk about the death of her father, she just has this line where she says, how quickly my life has become another life. Right. And that's one of the things about grief, that it's not that the event takes place and you grieve and you spend time trying to get your old life back. Your old life is gone. And so you spend your time trying to learn how to live in a new one. Right. And the other line in the book at the beginning of Chapter 3, she just talks about how grief is about language and so much of our grasping for it. And she talks about the pain and the loss. And she says the pain is not surprising, but its physicality is. And that's what this convo was about, right? It wasn't about grief. It was about why grief surprises us, why our brains get surprised, why our bodies get surprised, why our reflexes get surprised, why we discover that we're strangers to ourselves until grief introduces us. And that's why I could think of no better way to start off Grief Awareness Month than with my conversation with Dr. Mary Francis, not because we only need 1 month for the rest of the year, but because we spend 11 months misunderstanding it. And sometimes we don't need the right word or the right phrase. Sometimes it's the right metaphor that just helps us capture the experience and give a house to feelings that words or condolences can't. Thank you all again for being here on Grief is a Language. And if you found anything at all helpful, right, please share it with somebody else. And remember, you're not crazy. You're not alone. You're human. Peace.